We should be live. Live, live, live. I'm sure it'll be a second before folks roll in. Let me see. Oddly enough, I cannot see a YouTube chat, but I can see a multi-stream chat. I can enter stuff into Twitch. So that's cool. All right. Let's see what we can do here. Hey, there we go. We have somebody in here. Woo! You got it. Awesome. And it looks like my chat preview is working as well. Now, the interesting thing is that I also have an ability in OBS to see the multi-stream. So if anyone's trying to type anything in YouTube or can pop over in YouTube, at the very least, we can see if, I'm getting chats in the multi-stream as well. Interestingly, there's not a dedicated YouTube view in OBS for the chat. I don't know if I failed to set that up or what, but we'll just hang out for a minute or two, see if anybody else joins. Cool. All right. I'm just gonna check myself here, see if I can verify this might make things go nuts. Hey Sarah, here too. Good, awesome, thank you. Oh, and that's from YouTube. Awesome. Oh, that's great. That's great. How does YouTube look? I was actually about to search myself. There I am. Yeah, I'm live. Good. Okay. Cool. Well, we're live on Twitch and we're live on YouTube. OBS is certainly detecting chats from both platforms. It's on a slight delay, which is interesting. Okay. That's probably, I'm guessing that's on YouTube's end. Probably maybe additional copyright algorithms or something for content. I don't know. Who knows? That's good to know though, because I don't know. We might just have to work with that, or it could be. Well, I'm not going to mess with it now, but I'm guessing maybe there's some settings in YouTube, like OBS, that can control the delay. Like, so if you want to build in a 10-second delay to, kill the stream if something embarrassing happens or something like that, maybe that's a setting I should change on my side. Hopefully the delay won't be too bad, and we can, but maybe we can see something in the analytics about what effect that has, and if there's something that we can do to reconcile that, artificially move or change timestamps to match that of Twitch, perhaps. But the chats aren't one for one, so that wouldn't make sense, Brian. Anyway, I'm not going to wait too long to get started here. I really appreciate everybody jumping on. I figured I'd just go 10 to 20 minutes here and do a simple 3D model that might illustrate a neat little trick or two. And I know when I say quick with 3D modeling, it never is, but this one I'm going to stick to it. We're going to do a chair tonight, and obviously, a chair could be pretty simple, but I wanted to show how you can use 3D programs like Hexagon to create objects out of lines. And so we may have a couple, we may mess with geometry and shapes a little bit, but I'm going to try to do a lot of this chair just kind of off the top of my head and using lines. So the first thing, I don't know what the name of this type of chair is, but you may have seen it. They have they're made out of either metal or curved bows of wood, and they have that kind of classic I think they're like 1920s or something like that, but they're like the chairs you'd see out maybe in an open air cafe. So I think that will be a cool little test. Hey Octa, hey, thanks for joining us. We've got good news, man. We're seeing chats come in for both YouTube and Twitch, so we know I'm live on both. In case folks didn't see the message from me, we did send an email out to everybody's personal emails with the keywords for tonight. So if you want to test any of those, there should be a PNG that I attached to an email a little while ago. I did add some of the ones that are on that list to the kind of message at the bottom here. So LOL, awesome, lame, 1 and 2 and triple Z for snoozing. The ones and twos you'll see in the photo, but that's because, you know, sometimes people in chat will say press 0 for this, press 1 for that, or press 1 for this option, or press 2 to vote for this. So I figured I would attach the 1 and 2 to the nodding yes and shaking head no, respectively. So, you know, that's just some different ideas to test. And, you know, credit to Sarah for introducing the multi-stream capability. It's been, I think, pretty smooth so far. And we also, you know, she caught a defect that was case sensitivity, I believe. So hopefully tonight we'll see some more immediate and, oh, where did my cat go? Where did my cat go? Oh dear. Where did my cat go? Oh, it's behind. Is it behind? Where did it go? Interesting. So my cat appears to be invisible. The mayor is missing. Hold on. You're going to see something move around the screen here. I can't see it because it's so small. No broadcast found. Please restart when ready to stream. Oh no! I wonder if that's to do with the YouTube side of things, because that was not that was not the case with just Twitch. So hold on just a second. We'll model the chair in just a minute. What I think I should do here is refresh this if I can. And oh well. So I mean, I could stick with this because I'm pretty sure it would work, because I just used this previously before I started the stream. I put in some error handling, so in case people started the mirror wings. Oh, okay, that makes sense. All right, so it would give us an error and not return the messages. Just let me know in chat, Sarah, if you think that I should actually just restart it completely, like return it to the browser, relog in, and all that. The cat is back. Yes, the cat's back. I'm just hoping that it's actually reacting to something in the chat. It's going gross right now, so I don't know if it didn't like our. Okay, it looks like he's good. Okay, let's just roll with it. At the very least, I think it's probably fine, and the analytics will also let us know, you know, what we're getting. All right, so back to 3D modeling now that the cat is back. That cat. That was very mysterious. All right, so we were going to create. I want to create a chair here, and the idea with the chair is to use just lines and then use some utilities to curve the lines in other ways that would be difficult to do while we're dropping the vertices manually. So it allows us to work in a 2D view, orthographic for those that watch the old streams. And then we can apply some more three-dimensional characteristics after that. So we're going to start with a circle, which is obviously a continuous line. And I will go into orthographic view and out of perspective. And let's see, I think number of points. Well, I want this to be pretty smooth in terms of how it looks. I'm not really going for a low poly look necessarily. So let's go up to 36 should be acceptable. All right, so we've got that. We're going to go into select point mode. And I think I want to leave a couple bits down here to work with. So maybe I'm going to cut it off right about there. And just jumping back, checking the chat. Okay, cool. Things seem to be working here. What shall we do first? Well, first let's just get the front. You could call it front or back at this point, but the kind of front profile of the chair. So hopefully my worthless explanation earlier was not good at saying what type of chair this is, because I can't off the top of my head remember if there's a specific style like colonial or Victorian or what. But I mean, I suppose it would be, if it turns out well, you'll probably recognize it, hopefully. Okay, so I think this needs to be a little bit higher. So if you imagine just and let's say for argument's sake, it's metal, right? So we're ultimately trying to make a chair out of metal tubes, and this is kind of the back piece. And right now, if we, switch to a side view here, we can see that it's perfectly straight. And obviously in real life, it wouldn't. It would kind of have that nice curvature that would, conform to your lumbar and back. So we will get to that. But instead of worrying about that too much right now, what I want to do is, let's see, do I want to add any additional kind of shape to this? I don't know. It's looking pretty good. There's something I can't quite put my finger on here that I think it might be, yeah, it's a little more of this, kind of dragging that out a bit. And let's pull this up a little bit here. Whoop. This is very finicky. I generally do the modeling on another computer, and I'm just going to use the excuse that the mouse sensitivity on this like standard, what is this, HP mouse that came with the computer that I haven't bothered to swap out. That's at fault, definitely, and not me. I'm going to check chat here. Oh, hey, Di. Hello from Detroit. Glad you could join. I hope it's enjoyable for you. All right, we're gonna get back into the chair here. So I'd say like at this point, what I want to do here is actually add some thickness to it. So again, we have an option in terms of the number of points, and the number of points refer to really the number of sides that you're adding around. So you can actually see kind of a cool profile of the tube that we're creating here. And we can change the diameter of that, and we can also add in additional sides to make it look a little more smooth. So I'm not going to go too extreme, but the 24 makes it look pretty smooth. And then as far as the thickness goes, I think this needs to be quite a bit thinner. So we're going to try something around half. That's closer, but probably a little too thin for what I'm going for. Yeah, all right, we'll keep it at 5. That's cool. All right, so, and it will definitely not crash on me. All right. So now that we've got this back loop just made but not conformed, not contoured, I have to do a couple things to make it easier for this, it's a utility that exists within Hexagon to kind of automatically shape things based on a reference line. But first we want to make sure that there's enough natural vertices. So every one of the kind of slices that you see here, this is an opportunity for deformation to happen without funky things happening, right? So you can see that if I move this line here, it changes the shape, but I can apply a utility that will automatically do that to the entire kind of surface of the chair to make it, conform in a nice, easy way, and I'm not fiddling with it manually. But first I want to add, well, I think in this case I can actually use the line tool again. We'll stick with line modeling and, or at least vertex here. So we're going to add an edge, and this will basically create another loop. I think sometimes people call them loop cuts or whatever, but I'm just going to call them loops. And we'll add a couple in here. It doesn't have to be extreme because I'm not going to, go too long here. But we'll add another, let's see, another edge there, and maybe one more in between the existing bottom two. All right, and just taking a look at chat. Cool, we've got a lot coming in. That's awesome. Really appreciate everybody helping out with the testing, and commenting is really appreciated in the chat. So we're just adding more and more. Well, I do like calling them loop cuts now that I think about it, because it kind of does to me, it cuts the surface, not necessarily in half to separate it, but it just gives you an editable area that you can manipulate and change. All right, so these are roughly spaced, but if we're going for a little more accuracy, we can compress these so that I didn't perfectly place them vertically in comparison with each other. So we can just use a Y kind of scale compression to just make those loops nice and flat and neat and even with each other. And cool. All right, we're getting close. We're getting close. I might do a little more editing on the profile of the chair now that we've got it kind of lined up. Boy, this mouse does not make it easy. It is super. It is like each jump is a massive twitch. but we'll deal. All right. So, ooh, come on, you finicky thing. All right, there we go. So we've got a nice little back for our chair here, and I'm going to go ahead now and create a line that actually has it will never be attached to the model. I don't think. I'm not going to use it in any other way. But what I basically want to do is think about what is the curve just from a linear line perspective of what I want the chair to look like. And so again, with the chair that I'm trying to make, it kind of has a slightly reclined back, and it can sometimes help to just take a quick peek and get some bearings on how far you're making these points. It'll make sense when the operation is executed in the utilities. And maybe another curve there, and then one right there. And then some of the older chairs used to have just a slight flare backwards by the time this back tube became the leg, the foot for the chair. So what we'll do here is we'll select the tube that we made, and then we're going to go into utilities, and we've got a bend utility operation which will conform the shape of our mesh, the 3D shape, and actually make it take a profile on this axis that matches the line. So we'll go ahead and do that, and if we did everything right, boom, there it goes. So that's a really neat way of starting simple with just a line, dragging it down to get the contour in one area, and then using a utility to make life easier. And I mean, honestly, it does a pretty good job of making the slope, manually adjusting all those different loops, like from the side would be an option. I could drag those around, but I mean, it's time consuming. So what we're doing here is just showing a bit of efficiency. We'll go back into our lines, and we might as well just make the seat while we're at it. So this hoop we're gonna have become the seat, and cool, chat's still rolling in. I'm sorry, I'm pausing every once in a while just to make sure that I'm not getting any errors. The cat is still here, and it is, so all is right. I think we can live with 36 points on this one. And let me pull this up. And I was just pausing there in my head because I was thinking, maybe I should record this stream, but and I will. But I think I'll start recording as we're getting a little towards the end, just because I don't know what kind of performance impact it's going to have, or if it's going to mess up, anything with YouTube. When I was playing the video games for the live stream stuff, recording eventually killed my computer about 20 minutes in, which is why it was, some of you will remember, it was pretty god awful. All right. So what I'm trying to do is just line this up roughly so that the outside of it, when I give it some thickness, will kind of bump up against the chair back a little bit. And we still might have to play around with the geometry a little bit here, but it's always good to jump back into perspective mode, because this is the mode that your eye more or less sees with a field of view and a bit of deference to angles and things like that, whereas perspective view is not something that you would naturally see, but it's a very it shows the profiles of things really well, because it represents light bouncing unnaturally linear back at your eye instead of what it does in real life, or at least for our perception of real life, where you get more of a bend to things in your perspective. So we can go ahead and give this a little bit of thickness, and then to not overthink it, I'm just going to use the same value we did, because that'll match with the back of the chair for the most part. So I think already I've made a decision that the legs just need to be a little bit longer. So that's all right. It won't mess with our shape too much, and we can fine tune if needed. But I'm happy with that for now. And then to create the front legs really quickly, I think the easiest thing to do would to copy kind of the same structure that you've got here. So I'm going to pull the surfaces from the mesh that we've created already, and just copy paste. And let me see if I remember how to do this. Yeah, if I hold down shift, I can make it jump nice and neat between 45, 90, and 180 degrees. And of course, you wouldn't want these things sticking up and poking your legs or your sides, but I will adjust that in just a second. I think for these, they'd be probably like either underneath or within, but we're not committed to anything yet here. Let's pull this down. So it's roughly in alignment with the kind of shape, and it's not sticking out or anything like that. And it's still kind of sticking out a little bit in the inside. So I'll move it up just a bit more. All right, that's acceptable. All right, so our chair looks a little funky, but you know, funky chairs are good too. I think the reason why, it's not gonna like me for doing it that way. I'm just gonna give it a little bit more of a shape in the back here. Just to make it a little more interesting, and this is gonna deform more of the mesh than I probably should do, but that's okay. All right, I don't know why subtly that I enjoy better. All right, cool. Let me jump over to chat, see it's eclectic. Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, that's a nice way of putting it, I suppose. Oh yeah, I heard a lot of streamers have 2 separate computers when they stream, which is wild. Yeah, I agree. I have 2 computers, and I believe I ordered a capture card at some point, but I don't think I've rigged that up to my other computer. But yeah, I mean, I guess what I've heard is the ideal thing is you have one computer that's putting the stream out, and then a capture card that's doing kind of the heavy rendering work, and then sending that through another computer's internet connection to the stream. So cool. And we've got a better from Die. Cool. All right. Like it. It's eclectic. All right. Let's go back to this and see how we want to kind of tie things together here. You know, obviously we want a bit more of a back on this chair. It's not going to be really comfortable as it sits now. Pun intended. We will, what do we want to do here? We could have like kind of a little bit of a circle motif thing going on here. Maybe, I really don't know how big I want to make this, but I'm just going to play around with it for a second. And we'll line it up in the middle here roughly. And yeah, I think if we put it right here, and then you have to imagine the extra thickness of the mesh being added on top of this line, but I think this is going to be pretty good. And then we can maybe add some curves or other things in here to fill in the back part of the seat. So you could imagine in real life it would be like just a kind of welded metal chair or something like that. Let's go with that. And as always, Hexagon never likes using your last value, even though I think logically speaking, you'd be adding the same thickness to things if you're creating a series of them. And that's fine. I actually, you know what? I think since it's, oh boy, now I've done it. I brought up my GE Force experience because it apparently is mapped to the same thing as the undo hotkey. Or I just fat fingered it. Oh, please. You're not going to allow me to undo this? Please? No? All right. Oh, well, maybe I can. Okay, good. I can abort it. We'll abort that operation. And let's try again. So the whole thing I was thinking about is that since this isn't primary structure of the chair, it's more decoration and just kind of back support, I thought maybe making it a little bit thinner would work out well. So we'll just add a couple more things here. We're going to do maybe a circle again. And I think that's actually going to be pretty good. And then here I'm going to see if I can kind of roughly line it up. And maybe I'm not going for comfort today. Maybe this is just a chair that evokes discomfort when you look at it. All right. And then I guess we could rotate it a little bit. Just seeing how this works out. And give it the matching thickness for the other decoration here. Okay, cool. And come on. We'll copy this one over. And we'll give it, what would be, I think that would be about the angle. See if I'm a little off there. Probably am. All right. All right, so we're starting to build something there. Not quite sure what, but it works. It works. So I don't want to attach these yet because I'm actually going to also bend these as well. But I think while this is just kind of bugging me, I was thinking about what I wanted to do to make the seat, and I think I've set on a decision here, which is that I'm gonna use an offset operation that kind of highlights every other or every two or every three kind of surfaces along a loop. So I think that will be good, and let's see how. All right, I mean, this is kind of neat. I kind of like it. Yeah, so if we go into there, and I'll have to give it a little bit more on the Y scale to match the, for some reason, when it shrinks everything evenly, so it kind of pulls the height of the seat, pinches it towards the middle as you pull it in, so I have to adjust that, but it looks pretty good. And I think I'm going to go a little bit on the lazy route in the interest of time here. Go with a cylinder, and I don't need nearly this many sections, just 2 sections, but I want to make it match the circumference of the seat, which I think I put at 36. That's not circumference, is it? It's the number of faces on the outside. Okay, and let's see. I don't think I've centered the chair yet, so I might want to do that. Oh, is it not in object mode? All right. And okay, we were just off the center. I'm going to check the chat. Gross, disgusting, yuck. If I didn't know better, I would think this chat doesn't really like what they're watching. All right, cool. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here. The reason why I centered the chair was just to make some of the alignment here a little less tedious, but it doesn't have to be exact. Not for our purposes. And then we'll bring this down just about here, and then we'll make it match the height of these things just about. Well, we'll live with that for now. I'm not committed to it, but it looks kind of neat. To finish out the back of the chair here, I was kind of thinking what kind of shape would go neat here. And I guess I'm going to go a little simple here. Might just do a regular polyline, which allows me to draw a line by dropping vertex points, along the way. So see if this is a comfy chair or the kind of chair that really bites into your back. Like the ones in parks. You can never sit on them for long or your circulation goes dead. All right, well, I don't know what kind of look this is going to have, but we'll just run with it. I can't remember. I think I had the thickness for the E. Yes, I had the thickness around that. Okay, cool. And I think what I might actually do here, and this could get tricky, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Here I'm gonna extrude, yeah, I'm gonna extrude this back part. Whoop, I was not in the right view for this. I'm gonna try to get this guy to cooperate. Oh, for Pete's sake, just calm down. All right, we're just gonna do that. I'll fix it manually. Sometimes the sensitivity just on some of these operations with a mouse that wasn't designed for interacting with these programs is pretty crazy. So I'll have to fix that going forward. Okay, so we've got this back plate running down the side, or the back of the chair. I think it's a bit cheating here. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I'm just going on the fly. So I think, yeah, all right. So we need to add, again, because we're going to do an operation to make it match the earlier curve we set with the chair. But to do that, we want to make sure we've got enough loops here that it can bend in a way that's natural to the line we give it. So it doesn't take that much, but I think that could be good. And then we'll add a couple more on the side here. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I think it went too fast. It's an absolute blur for me. And I can't believe it's November already. Thanksgiving's coming up. It's gonna be good. Okay, so I think we've got a sufficient amount of points throughout this whole thing that we can use the object tool, not the line tool, Brian. All right, and select this whole item. And what we want to do here, we could group it, but I think I'm just going to do a weld on it, which it'll associate it all together. And then, there's various ways I could accomplish the line. I could just redraw a line that matches the chair, or I could take it directly from the chair itself and use that as the reference line to bend the kind of back decorative pieces we just made. To do that, I'll highlight a line that runs the entire outer length of the chair. So from the side, we see it captures that contour that we want. And I'm going to extract the line off of that. So it just basically copies and pastes, but just along one line that was, making up just a line on the surface of that part there. And we don't need or want all of these pieces. We don't want to give it too complex of a shape. Hexagon will not like it if the line curves back down there. It wants a line that's curved usually only in one dimension, from the left or from the right, front, back, whatever. All right, let's flatten this one as much as possible. All right. And then now let's just line it up roughly with our shape, and we can see that we have more in the reference line we don't really need, which is this bit down here. So we'll get rid of that. Now we're doing in chat. Definitely too fast. Oh, neat, too fast, always too fast. Okay. All right, so we're gonna, again, select this object that we just created and go to our utilities and we'll bend this one to that line. And so that worked out pretty well, I think. Go ahead and get rid of that guy. And we'll move this into place so it's probably roughly in there. Yeah, I mean, it's a chair. I guess you could say it's a chair. It's a chair. It's a chair of some kind. It really didn't quite come out how I expected. I think it would be like a kid's table chair too, because it's a little, the scale's a little goofy on it, but hey, off the top of my head, it's what I did. What I'm doing here, I don't know. It seemed awkward that it was sticking out a little bit there. And I'm sure if I had spent more time looking at reference photos, that probably would have been good. But there we go. So if you want to really scoot back far into the chair, you can scoot back far into the chair, and it'll make you hunch over the table. Very ergonomic. Cool. All right. Well, that was fun modeling a chair. It is a chair. That's right. Want one. Cool. Awesome. Well, this was a good test. I think we ran just about 30 minutes, which is great. I don't want to take up any more time, but hopefully this gives us some good analytics. We got to see that the multi-stream does seem to be working, at least as far as the cat goes, as far as OBS goes. That's good. So hopefully we'll see some good analytics too. Thank you all for joining and helping out testing. I hope you have a good night, and probably talk to most of you tomorrow at some point. So